Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Well, that was a very intoxicating hockey game, I think is the
It,
right word. It
it
was
was
absolutely thrilling.
intense, wasn't it? Really, the
Yeah,
whole game was.
that's the kind of game that season ticket holders, they go to that game and they think, it was worth it to get
Hmm.
tickets. It was worth it to buy tickets. Because I bet you everyone at that arena just had a blast, just had a ball tonight. Because that was just a fantastic hockey game, high level of skill, high level of intensity. I was just impressed by just the way the teams went at it. But again, with the 80s hockey when the Jets and the Oilers went at it, there were some good games and there were
Hmm.
some skill games, but just everyone just is so fast now. Every single player on the ice is so fast, and there's so little time on the ice. It's so compressed, the decision making, and that's what really struck me that game. Oh, there you are. I thought I lost you for a second.
Both teams had the puck on the string at times. Hey, zip, 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 zip. The passes were going, and the breakouts and the return breakouts were just pounding back and forth at pace.
That Jets team is good too. Like that's a fantastic hockey team with some really Shifley and Wheeler and Ehlers. They've got some really and who's
Connor.
Connor? Yeah, Kyle Connor. So the
Yeah.
grade A chances, that's not your number, is it? Do you have a
Nope.
different number?
Yeah.
So the grade A chances were 17-16 for the Jets.
Hmm.
Quite a um, grade A scoring chance fest. I mean, usually I think the average is about 10 per team per game.
Yeah, around there.
So that was quite the offensive explosion. Not a lot of goals though because of some fantastic goaltending at both ends. Bruce, what is your good? We're going to do our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast here. But because it's a win for the Oilers, we're going to go with two good things each. What's your first good thing?
Well, I got to single out Leon Draisaitl in this game tonight. Had the crowd chanting MVP, MVP at times, and he was, as Coach Tippett put it in the post game, in beast mode and dominating the game in a number of ways. Not least, of course, with the two power play goals that he scored uh, to first give the Oilers the lead and then to level the score 2-2 late in the second period. And then just an absolutely gorgeous assist on the game winner where he held the puck along the wall, protected it, waited the right moment, saw the play for Nuge to jump into the open and just popped a little short pass. But the timing of the pass, David, you know this as a fan. It's all about the timing of when that pass is let go and which part of the field it gets rolled into. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 70-foot, saucer. It has to be visionary, and that was a visionary pass. And Nuge made the most of that chance with a wicked shot, his
Yeah,
specialty, just inside the stick side post.
that was Lothar Matthäus to Karl Heinz Rummenigge for the goal.
Yeah, well,
uh, that was such a beautiful play. It really
it
was.
was.
Not just because it was like huge goal. Like the Oilers
Hmm.
absolutely needed to win this game. They'd been on a bit of a. They'd only won one game in five.
Hmm.
They needed to win, and
Hmm.
Calgary lost. Vancouver lost. Did anyone else lose? All those teams have been winning, and finally a couple.
Arizona finally won, so they turned their thing around. But the thing is, even the teams that won didn't gain any ground on the Oilers. And the
Yeah,
teams that lost, they put two more points between themselves, Calgary, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. Who was potentially, who knows how things break. But Winnipeg showed tonight they're not about to quit on the wild card race, and they sort of beat them in regulation and hold them without a point is just a little bit sweeter than one of those other Bettman style wins.
um, my good thing. Well, I'll start with the obvious one. Mike Smith was just. This is probably he's had two games like this. This is the second game where he's absolutely stood on his head. I think it was against Pittsburgh.
It's
Was it not? In
November.
yeah, and he was just unreal. Of course, after that he went on this horrendous slump, but let's not talk about that. but he was just so
Sober.
dialed in tonight, and he was, you know what, he makes the Oilers so dangerous with his puck moving. And in the playoffs, this is going to be a big factor. Teams can resort to dump and chase a lot in the playoffs because it gets so tight. And you have a goalie like that who's firing off those passes, and man, that guy he's got the balls of steel. I mean, that one
He
pass he made
does.
up the middle, two guys skating right at him up the middle, and he threaded the needle between them on the
Mm-hmm.
pass. Like, holy moly, man!
Hit McDavid, eh?
What a but his puck, the saves he made, he was so dialed in, so fired up. Um, this is what highlight of the year, along with the goalie fight and that big game in Pittsburgh. This was Mike Smith's night, and his save percentage since January 1st, Bruce, and not
Mm-hmm.
including this game, is 915. So he has been really strong for the Oilers when they really needed strong goaltending. Koskinen's really been struggling. He
Mm-hmm.
has an 893 save percentage since mid-December. I think he's got 4 wins and 7 losses in that time, where now Smith has, I think, 11 wins and 5 losses. So good for Mike Smith. A
And
lot of people
four
doubted
and
him.
points in 4 of the 5 losses, even. So
Yeah,
not at least getting something out of every game,
yeah.
almost every game. Just one regulation loss. That's a nice roll.
There was a lot of doubt about Mike Smith heading into the season, and I think it was justifiable. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think I wrote at the time that it's probably a coin flip about whether he's going to be a useful player for the Oilers, probably about 50-50. And so far, the coin flip's paying off. And good for, I guess, Tippett and Holland knew something about this player, and he's proving them right. So uh, kudos to all three of them tonight. Bruce, what's your second good thing?
Well, I got to go with that power play at the end of the second period. That was a huge game turner for the Oilers. Uh, they had lost the plot a little before that. They led 1-0, and they played pretty good up to about halfway through the second, and then they started to get a little bit loose on the defensive side of the puck, and then there was a couple of near misses, and then Winnipeg struck for 2 goals in the same minute to take the lead, and they kept coming after that, and it didn't look good. And then Edmonton got the Winnipeg player took a real bad penalty in the corner for grabbing Riley Sheahan. I mean, not sure what he was thinking, but that brought out the lethal Edmonton power play that had scored late on their first opportunity. And the second opportunity, man, they were just all over them. They had 4 grade A scoring chances in, what, 40 seconds? And as they said on TV, they said they called them grade. Notice how everybody's using our terminology now, grade A chances. They were calling them A plus 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 chances. I'm going,
Ah, there
yeah,
you go. Yeah.
they certainly were. Like Connor Hellebuck made at least 2 dazzling saves, and Nugent Hopkins hit a post in the build up to that goal. It was one good chance after another, and the Oilers would recover the puck, reset the cycle, and get it going again. And when they finally connected, it was a beautiful sauce pass from Nugent Hopkins to McDavid, and he fired a seeing eye hard shot pass that was aimed for Draisaitl's stick, and Draisaitl put his stick where it would do the most good and tipped her home. 11 seconds left in the period, I think, probably 1948 officially, but
Yeah.
that took the Oilers to the room at 2-2, and it was just a gigantic goal, and that was the special teams superiority. The Oilers lost this game at 5-on-5, 2 goals to 1, but they scored on both their power plays, and they killed both the Winnipeg's power plays, and that was the difference.
Fantastic. Yeah, Bruce. McDavid sure on the power play, like when he was out, they sure missed him on the zone entries. He's still coming back. I think he's still a little bit off his game, still just
My
a wee
wife
bit.
said my wife said exactly that about partway through this game. She says Connor's still not 100%, and I said, "You mean from last April or from last month?" She said, "Oh no, just the recent one." But she says he's
Yeah,
not quite there yet. He's playing, but he's playing through it, and
he's
I
a little
think she's
rusty,
bang on right.
but his boy, when he was gone, the zone entries were a major chore. I don't think they ever got it right, and but they did a little better tonight with that. Okay, Bruce, my second good thing, it's a number of, I've remarked on this a number of times this year because I just can't get enough of it. I just love the Oilers breakout this year. The passing up the middle of the ice.
Hmm.
It is so effective. And it's partly effective because they've got defensemen who can execute it. Caleb Jones now, Ethan Bear. I thought Adam Larson was really actually pretty heady with the puck, uh, just making little
Yes.
feints and clever moves with the puck tonight. Nurse was strong, and then the centers that they're working with are all really strong at it as well. So I was thinking about like this breakout. You could probably get like 10 video clips of just absolutely gorgeous Oilers breakouts in this game, and that's probably like 8 more than they would have had during the last 7 years or so. And I was going through the new era of Oilers defensemen here, Bruce. I'm
Hmm.
just going to read some of the names of defensemen, the non-puck moving defensemen the Oilers have had since Ryan Nugent Hopkins has been on the team. Cam Barker, Colton Tubert, Mark Fistrick, Theo Peckham, Laddie Smead, Nick Schultz, Keith Ollie, Adam Pardy, Nikita Nikitin, Mark Fain, Eric Gryba, Brandon Manning, and Alex Petrovic. Not one of those players would be close to getting on the ice with the Oilers this year, although Brandon Manning did, I should say, for a short amount of time, which was madness at the time. It was madness even then. But the Oilers don't have any defenseman like that anymore. Chris Russell is very cautious moving the puck, and Adam Larson can have his troubles, but they're both like Russell can make a pass, and so can Larson. There's no one
Hmm.
close to being this bad, of those players in terms of puck moving that that are on the Oilers right now. And Oscar Klefbom, of course, is out of the lineup. So when he comes back in, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to sit. And Mike Green is also. I mean, we didn't see a lot of him, but he has a reputation of being an outstanding puck mover. So this is a different, and it's such a relief, different era or different team for puck moving, and it is such a bloody relief because I couldn't. It was just driving me crazy the way they would get hemmed in, and even last year the way they would get hemmed in, and those days are gone. Thank goodness. Bruce, your bad thing?
Yeah, you were going to go first because we were going to do these things in
Oh,
chronological order. Remember?
okay. The first goal against, we're gonna just cover the two goals. The first goal against was really, it's a bad thing. It was definitely a sequence of pain, but man, was that ever a lightning attack by the Jets. And I think this
Hmm.
is the theme on both these goals, like some
Yep.
tremendous attacking by the Jets. But there was a number of mistakes by the Oilers. Larson got beat on the boards, Jones got beat on the boards, and Shane got beat on the back check on the first goal against. All, tough plays. This is going to happen in the NHL when you're going against really really skilled teams. And I thought actually Larson and Jones were very strong tonight. But on
Hmm.
this play, they both made mistakes and bang in the back of the net. So that's my bad thing. It's just the three breakdowns on that goal against.
Yeah, that partnership. I thought they were excellent in this game, but
Yeah, I
that
agree,
that
Bruce.
was a play where things happened fast. Like the Jets are a quick strike team, and they got some real speed on their side. Same happened on the second goal in terms of uh, they came out um, 2-on-2, and it was Blake Wheeler against Ethan Bear. And this was just like what 40 seconds, 34 seconds after they tied it up. The Oilers been ahead 1-0 for quite a long time, and all of a sudden it was like bang bang. And Blake Wheeler um, just tied poor Ethan Bear into knots. He stick handled basically right through him, put the puck through his legs, went around him, and Bear got sucked into playing the puck and not trying to step into the man at all, and uh, he uh, he got beat bad on that play. There's no other way to put it. And
Yeah.
Darnell Nurse wasn't in bad position, but what he didn't do right was he didn't ever look over his shoulder. He never did the shoulder check. And Kyle Connor, who's a brilliant attacker for Winnipeg, very very good player, and he did the thing that some snipers do, and which is Time is a rival at the net front. And what he did was he kind of faded out a little bit wide, so he was coming in just a second later than you might expect. And Nurse was closing a gap that he thought was there. And in the meantime, Connor was sort of arriving just that second later, and that Wheeler was able to pull the puck back where Nurse couldn't reach it onto Connor's stick and bang into the net with no mistake. That was a great finish by Connor, but he set himself up for the finish by the route that he took to the net, the delayed release that just allowed just enough gap from his perspective between him and Nurse for that pass to get through and for him to make the finish. But from a defensive perspective, it was one where a shoulder check from Nurse rather than puck focused. As Bear was getting beat, Nurse was kind of glued to what was going on over on that side of the ice
It's kind
rather
of hard
than,
to not watch and
yeah,
stare.
well,
It's
yeah,
like a car
yeah,
crash, right?
yeah. It's like driving by the rubberneck, and yeah.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
15-minute traffic jam.
so of course we give them both errors, but in this particular play, Nurse's error was relatively small, and Bears was pretty central to what happened. But the fact is, they both got beat, and the puck wound up in the net, and all of a sudden, Oilers fans, I'm pretty sure, well, speaking from an in-depth survey of two fans, had uh, a sudden knot in the pit of their stomach that with this recent struggles to win games, that even the game where they'd been playing not too bad up to that point, and it looked like suddenly Winnipeg was starting to get the better of them, and trouble was brewing.
Another little bad thing in that game, I'm going to sneak this one here in here, was Andreas Athanasiou. He's struggling a little bit, isn't he? He got bumped down to the fourth line. Maybe he's struggling with injury.
Third line, yeah.
Or was it the third line?
Well, I would call Shea and Archibald the third line.
Okay, that's the third line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still finding his place. Ennis has fit right in. Of course, this is what's forgotten is Ennis was a significantly higher even strength scorer this year than Athanasiou. So it's no surprise to see Tyler Ennis have some success, and he's buzzing around there and making plays. So
is he ever?
Yeah.
Is he ever? Little guy, and he just doesn't. He's got a motor on him that just go away, and maybe a little bit that number 63 and his stature and his kind of his skating style and his quickness of his attack, but not saying he's our Brad Marchand, but maybe he's the poor man's version thereof. He's not that kind of a. He doesn't have the full breadth of Marchand's guile.
Maybe he's our Bobby Lalonde.
But yeah, he's been impressive, and he was pumped tonight. And you could, I mean, here's this guy, 30 years old, that grew up, cheering for the Oilers, playing for Knights of Columbus, and he was playing his first home game as an Edmonton Oiler. I would hope he'd be pumped, and he was, and he played really well. So hats off to him.
Just by the by, what did you think of Cassian on the Draisaitl line?
Well, I didn't think it was a bad idea to put him there when Yamamoto wasn't available. Like, I know in the pregame he wrote that he'd be on the checking line, but of course in the pregame it looked like Yamamoto was going to play, and they decided to hold him out. So pretty decent landing spot for him, and he had his moments, but the rust showed, and he had 4 official giveaways in the game, which is not good for a guy who doesn't handle the puck all that often.
Yeah.
But he had his moments, a couple of big hits, and some speed and some. The play didn't die in his stick. That line had some good pressure. So
I liked him on that line. I actually thought that worked fairly well. And I was certainly glad to see Kara not on the checking line. I had done a little research on Natural Stat Trick before the game. And with Kara, Archibald and Sheehan have a 25 goals for percentage, 25% goals for percentage. I think it was like 4 goals, 4 and 12 goals against. Now, of course, this game, I think they were out for both. Were they not Sheehan and Archibald out there for both, and Russell out there for both goals against? I might be wrong about that, but they were certainly out there for one of them.
Yes, they were. Both goals. The whole line was out there.
Didn't work with the Patrick Russell either, but I'm glad it wasn't Kara. He's just, he didn't have a bad game. Jujhar had some chances. Yeah, he had a good game. Yeah, he was actually.
But he started the year with those guys, and they started the year in the slump, and 2 of them got hurt. And so, part of the reason maybe they were in a slump was they weren't clicking with Kara, but part of the reason that the results look so bad now is the time of year they played together was when all three of them were struggling.
That is
So,
true. Shane and Archibald were yet to find their kind of rhythm with the team.
hmm
Bruce, what's your number tonight?
well, I'm going to go with 15. That's the number of power play goals by Leon Draisaitl now. He
Wow.
had one after 28 games. He had one power play goal. And tonight, two more. And up to 15 on the season and 42 points, which uh, he was trailing McDavid most of the year, but he's now got one more power play point than McDavid. Of course, he's played six more games, but he is such a weapon on the power play to pass, shoot, control the puck, win face-offs. Like he's got a lot of different uses and win battles along the puck along the boards to retrieve pucks was in his game uh, in this plus column tonight for sure. So yeah, 15 power play goals. That's a real nice number, and of course there's every chance he could get to 20.
How many goals does he have now?
39.
39. Wow. He may get to
39.
50, eh?
63 assists, and they were saying he has 10 in his last 11 games, which is
Yeah.
easily verifiable. But last year he just kept heating it up all down the stretch. Remember, I think around game 65, I don't think he was on pace for 50 then neither, but he was close. And now he's just right there. That if you prorate it, it's 49, I think.
I love how much I'm hearing all of a sudden his name come up in MVP discussions.
hmm
Um,
He won some
that's
converts on
fantastic.
Hockey Night in Canada tonight.
He sure did.
So, I like
Well, my
that.
number relates to Draisaitl and McDavid as well, Bruce.
Okay.
They were both in on a high number of grade A scoring chances. Draisaitl 7, McDavid 8.
hmm
And I'm telling you, Bruce, I love this 1-2 punch right now. And it's all the better now that McDavid is, I think, Ennis is working out with McDavid, and I could see Cassian going there eventually, probably, or Athanasiou. We're going to have two lines going into the playoffs, I'm hoping here, that are just this 1-2 punch. And last year it was the Oilers would get behind a goal in a game and it would be over unless McDavid and Draisaitl on the same line were able to come up with something. Because the other three lines could come up with nothing. They were all slow, couldn't forecheck, and it was just a recipe for losing. So you send this 1-2 punch out there.
hmm
That is awesome, and it's just got to be what a nightmare for the opposing coach because you have your shutdown pair, and maybe you got another pair that can handle
hmm
them. But good luck with that. You just survive the dynamite line, right? You've lived through. Now Yamamoto's out, but you've just when he comes back, you just survived Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, and Draisaitl, and out comes McDavid, Ennis, and Cassian. That's
hmm
gonna be a lot of fun when that happens, and we're starting to get a taste of it already
So,
in these games.
mhm.
And I can't wait. I cannot wait, Bruce, because it's been a long time. It's been a long time since we've had two attacking lines like that in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, they interviewed Nuge in the post game, and they asked him about his recent scoring binge. And
Yeah.
I suggested to my wife that the appropriate answer for Nuge to give, which we both knew would never say in a million years, was that they finally got me some frickin' line mates.
He would
Pretty
never
hard
say
to,
that.
yeah, I know he would never. That's why it's kind of funny to put words in someone's mouth
Yeah.
sometimes. We got a good laugh out of that, but
Yeah.
after playing, second line minutes against second toughs and with the James Neal or last
Jason.
year Milan Lucic or Chason, guys that aren't necessarily fast, guys that aren't necessarily real strong defensive players. And Nuge was doing a lot of the heavy lifting and playing center, and he's looking so comfortable now on the wing, and he plays off Draisaitl so well. They work both the radio and the TV. We're talking about the business where and Nuge himself about how playing with Leon and Leon protecting the puck so well, and Nuge's job is to find the holes and get open. Well, that's kind of right down his alley. He has those skills, and he also has the skills to bury that shot when he gets a look. So
What a beautiful shot by Nugent Hopkins.
love it.
Yeah, I like him defensively as a winger. I think he was a mediocre defensive center.
Mhm.
Didn't cover the slot very well, but I think he's actually a pretty good defensive winger. Like I think
Mhm.
he's actually a very good
Mhm.
defensive winger. So yeah, it's really
Fine on
working
the
out.
penalty kill.
All right, so they're playing Monday night.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and on it goes. The beat goes on. So they've got now they're up to without Clefbaum, which is a crucial part of the season, and are now up to 2-2-2 in that time. And really, I mean, other than the fact they managed to lose both the overtime games, they've been splitting. You know, there were 2-2-2 in regulation. Normally, you'd expect the one win in those two overtime games, but they didn't get them. But this win was huge. Didn't want to have any extended winless streaks at this stage of the season. You know, you got to stop the bleeding and you got to stop it quick, and they did.
Yeah, well, Clefbaum's been out, and Jones I think has been getting stronger incrementally, as opposed to last year when he was thrust into a top four role, he folded. He really struggled after he had really excelled in the bottom pairing. Ken
Hmm.
Hitchcock and everyone was raving about him, but then his game fell apart. This time he seems to be getting a little bit better each game, and he was really playing with confidence tonight,
I've never seen
joining
him
the
skate
attack.
better.
Yeah, he's such a dynamic, smart hockey player. I really like his game, so I'm certainly rooting for him. Alrighty, Bruce. Well, you're doing the game grades tonight.
I sure am, and I'm just taking a running start on them now. There'll be a while, but that was a fully engaging game, and it, it's to for me at least to properly interpret the game. I have to have the game as an entire package, and then spit out the our report from there. So it'll take a while, but it'll get done.
You got your process. You got your
I do.
process.
It's probably wouldn't work for anyone else, but
People love your game grades, and it's
well,
always a
thank you.
pleasure to talk with you, Bruce, after
Well,
the game.
thank you, David.
All right.
And thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.